I've been trying medical malpractice lawsuits for 40 years. I have served the governors of the state of New York on the Governor Medical Malpractice Task Force. I have been involved in well over 1,000 medical malpractice cases, maybe more. I've been chair of medical malpractice committees. I have testified in Albany. I lecture on that subject matter. I am aware of what takes place in our state. I'm not a self-appointed authority, okay? But I can tell you this. Insurance is present and available for every doctor and for every hospital. In my 40 years of practice, I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of times a doctor ever had to reach into her or his pocket to make any personal payment outside of their insurance coverage. Doctors and their families are not going to have their personal savings. They're not going to have their investments. They're not going to have their homes affected by a jury verdict or by a resolution of a medical malpractice case. That's not the reality here in New York. It's just not. And there is this idea that we need doctors. Lord knows any of us be without the genius of science that comes through the medical industry. We want them, and there's almost an inclination to protect these men and women, okay? But they got a job to do. And it's simplistic to think about this, but if a doctor is driving a car, their Lexus, their Mercedes-Benz, some of them their Bentleys, and they're driving their car, and they're a good driver. They know the rules of the road. They know what to do and what's acceptable in terms of safety. But on this occasion, they're not paying attention. They're distracted. Hopefully they're not texting, because I wouldn't expect that from a professional, but they may be texting. They go through a red light. They smash into a car, and the person who gets hurt in that car is a father or a mother who works and has children to support. Would anybody's reaction be, oh gee, because that person is a doctor, let's excuse their lack of reasonable care in driving their car that day? That wouldn't be the thought. Medical malpractice is nothing more and nothing less than you got a job to do. You took on the job. You took it on freely. Some of it can be difficult. Some of it can have adverse effects, reactions to it, and complications. But when you took on that job, you took it on to do it in a reasonably careful way, in something called in accordance with reasonable accepted practice. If you didn't do it that day, it doesn't make you a bad doctor. That doctor will continue to earn a living, but there is aftermath. There's a patient that has been adversely ruined in many cases, and a family that's out there. Who do you think is going to pay for those injuries if the responsible physician or hospital doesn't do so? I'm going to ask that question one more time. Who do you think pays for that if the person responsible for that wrongdoing is not held accountable? You, the taxpayers. That cost of that negligence comes to you in terms of Medicaid, Medicare, social services, food stamps. How is that good public policy? How does that work in a democratic society that someone doesn't act reasonably careful? The same as someone not honoring a contract. The same as someone taking over real estate that doesn't belong to them. If it's legally wrong, do we ask the taxpayers to undertake the compensation? Or do we hold the specific person or entity accountable? I don't think I have to say much more than that.